Thank you so much, Leah. That's a beautiful song. It's a song that has a lot of confusion about it in terms of what it means. It means whatever it means to you. But here's what it does. It doesn't talk about a perfect life, because life is perfect in its imperfections. We have pain, we have sorrow, we have joy, we have all of the emotions. And what if you don't know anything else? If you don't have faith, if you don't have a church, if you don't have a home, if you have no one to go and talk to, if you just cry hallelujah, because that's what it means. Hallelujah is just praising God, however you know God to be. If you just call hallelujah, you're just asking for help, and help will come. That's what this song is about. That's what this song is about. So thank you. All right, so we've already kind of talked a little bit about who we are, and yes, we are a New Thought spiritual center, and we teach. We teach because we believe, as David said already, and we say all the time, that we believe and know. It's not just, it's going beyond believing, going to a knowing that we are God. And that is a hard thing for most people to get or to say or to even own. But it goes like this. A drop of the ocean is God, is the ocean in a single drop. Do you understand that? A drop of the ocean is the entire ocean in a single drop. We are God in an individualized expression. And just, it's okay, it keeps falling, we're gonna let it go. And so why that is so powerful to know, and Jesus told us that already, these and greater things shall you do. It is not me, it is God within me. It is God as me. And so we get to co-create our life, co-create, not create, co-create with the God that is within us. And we do that through prayer and meditation. That's why we teach. That's why we're here to help you, because I can tell you in this room, there is not, I don't believe there's, if you are a person who has not experienced pain, trauma, sadness, loss, grief in some way, please raise your hand, because you are a eunuch. A unicorn as well. Anybody? Okay. So that's why we do it, because we want you to know that there's always something, someone available for you, and all you have to do is cry hallelujah, or come to me, or share with me. Tell me something that I need to know. And in the darkness, which is what meditation is about, in the quiet, in the stillness, in the darkness, comes the answer, comes the light. Comes the light. So that's what we're about. And so I've been gone, as you know, because some people have come and introduced themselves to me because they forgot who I was. So that's, I've been gone to some conferences, some spiritual retreats, and someone said to me offhandedly, listen, I know you're going to be gone because I know you love your retreats, and I know you're going to be gone. And I do love them. But that's not why I go, because they're not relaxation. It's not a vacation retreat. I'm not there. When I went to Mexico with my family, it was. All right. But when I go on these spiritual retreats, it's not. It's about being around other like minds, like we do here on Sunday morning. It's about crying. It's about growing. It's about having the courage to speak your truth. To say, yeah, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know how I got here. I need some help getting up out of this hole. And yeah, ministers fall into holes too. And the retreats are my Sunday mornings, all in a week. So I get to be around people that can advise me. And I realized that I talk with you guys all the time about the three women ministers, myself and Melinda and Kim, and I talk about how we get together and we do that. We cry with each other and we give each other advice when it's solicited, and sometimes when it's not. And and so I have that, and so I'll be talking with you afterwards about some things that I realized I need to offer that to you all as well. And so I'm going to be doing that, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But that's what the retreats are about. That's what we're about. And today I want to talk to you about why we never chase a lie. We never chase a lie. And that is what I call a Bjism, which is my mother Pjae, and her isms. She had all these, so we just call them a Bjism. And Pjae said, never chase a lie. And what that means is you know your truth. It doesn't matter if anyone else knows it. You know it through your lived experiences and your courage to walk through something and know and see the truth on the other side. And not everybody has the courage to do that. And I'm going to tell you my definition of courage, and I actually got this off a movie because you guys know I love movies. And it was actually a romantic comedy, but it was such a great statement, and it resonated with me. And the character said, I have found that courage is simply being so convicted about something, having such truth about something, that you have no choice but to take action. Do you think that the heroes of 911 wanted to go in that fire and die? They were convicted. They had to go in and help as much as they could. Whatever it is that you do that you have to do, the courage is there for you to do it because it's pulling you in. You don't have a choice. So that's what courage is. It's not something you put on, it's not something you wear, it's not a coat that you have. It's conviction. It's conviction. And so when you know something, you don't have to prove it to someone else. Someone else will say to you, how's that going to work? You don't have to discuss it with them unless they're actually genuinely on your side and wanting to know, basically asking if you need help. But if they're asking you because they don't believe you, so? Jesus didn't say, he asked the question, who do you say I am? He didn't defend himself before Pilate. He didn't defend himself because he knew Pilate already had his mind made up. Nothing he was going to say was going to change his mind. Nothing that you can say about what you know is true for you is going to change anybody's mind. And why should it? Why do you care? Why do you care about changing somebody's mind? You don't when you're convicted. So I was in when I was trying to put this band together, I had had bands before and it was wonderful, and I was overseas, I didn't have one and I was missing it, as I've shared with you many times, and I started to put one together and just kind of started going out and doing solo singing and just singing with background tracks and things like that. And I love all the old Motown. I was raised up with the Motown and all of the hello, yes, I hallelujah. Anyway, hallelujah. So those are the songs that I was singing. And this guy walked up to me and he said, he loved what I was doing and all that kind of stuff. But he said, how can you get away with that? What? Exactly what I said. What do you mean? And he said, don't you have to sing like the current songs, like songs that people know, and how you can't get work doing these songs? And I said, no, okay. I didn't bother arguing with him because that would be true for him. He can't get work doing those songs. Right? It's not my truth. But I did. I worked for 5 years. I was the highest paid, and the most sought after band where I was for the next 5 years, doing exactly those songs. My point is that when you're convicted, you don't need to prove to anyone else. It's not their story. It's your story. And while I was at the retreat, I also, because I'm on the board, this was an Anton retreat, the Affiliated New Thought Network, ANTN, or something like this, how it goes? Affiliated New, ANTN, yeah, that's it. I'm not good with acronyms. People, you throw acronyms at me, so I'm sorry, what does that mean? And so I'm on the board. I'm the corporate secretary for that. So when we go to those retreats, it's a working retreat for me. Not only am I involved in the retreat, but I'm actually working and doing MC, just all kinds of things. And so I did a talk. And one of the talks was the power of stories, the power of story. I love telling story, and each of us has a story, more than one. But we all have a story, and the power of us serving one another, because I believe, and you don't have to believe with me, but if it resonates, then you believe it too, that the way that we serve others, I believe we're here, our purpose is to serve one another on this road, on this journey. We are fellow travelers. We can't get through it alone. We simply can't. We think we can, but you're not a lone ranger. You need the help of others. That's why we're here. And so one of the best ways, I believe, to serve is by telling your story. Not in a whiny, oh my God, it's me way, but in a way in which you have overcome your story. So it's not just telling your story, it's telling your story of the overcoming of the story. And this is why all of the A groups work, okay? AA, NA, OA, all those groups work because they have overcome their story. And they are sharing that overcoming, because in the overcoming are the laws, the universal laws that work for everybody, And when you find out what your story is and you have the courage to walk through it to the other side, that is powerful. And that's how you serve others. You don't have to look around and go, what's my purpose? Your purpose is to serve. And the way that you serve is to serve yourself first, overcome your story, whatever it is. So my story, and I have lots, but I'm always looking at what is the story that comes to mind the easiest, and where I was absolutely positive and for sure that God answers prayer. And it's the story of, and I'm not sure if I shared this with you or not, and so what, I'm going to share it again. It's when Jason and I were living in, and for those of you who don't know, Jason's my former husband. We were living in San Diego. We were living 45 minutes east of downtown San Diego, up in the hills, and we wanted to move down to the proper, because I needed to go do some work, and we needed to be in the city. And so, and we didn't want to buy because we didn't know what it was like, so we were just going to rent a place. So I was tasked with finding us a place. So I went down, I looked around, I found a beautiful place in an area called Golden Hills, which is just above Balboa Park, which is where the zoo is. So it's a beautiful spot. The place was a wonderful little house. It was a 2-bedroom, wooden floors, fireplace, just a typical, San Diego house. And so the landlord had his information on the fence there, and so I took his information down. I called him. I said, hey, I want to go see your place. He said, okay, but I'm not showing it until Saturday morning. I said, okay, all right. So I'll be at your place Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. I'll meet you there. So 8 o'clock on Saturday morning, I just confirmed. I'm just confirming that I'm coming. So I called him up. I said, hey, coming to see the house? And he said, oh, I'm sorry, I already rented it. Sorry? What now? I thought you weren't showing it until Saturday. He said, well, I wasn't. But this guy called, and he was so emphatic and just insisted that I go show him the house. So I showed it to him, and I rented it to him. Well, okay, there's nothing else to say, right? Oh, okay, thank you. Except I had a lot to say. So I started talking to God, George, right? I'm telling him just like I'm talking to you right now. Okay, so what's this about, George? Why didn't I get this house? Because I wanted this house. I wanted this house. And George said, clear as a bell, he said, no, I didn't. Sorry? How is it that you don't know I want this house? Don't you know everything? How you don't know I don't want this house? And he said, because you didn't tell me you wanted the house. What do you mean? He said, well, you said this could work. And I said, yes, you are correct. It could work. And I said, this would be great. And he said, yes, it would be great. Okay. I see what you're saying. So you need me to actually make a demand on the universe? You want me to say specifically what I want? He goes, yeah, that'd be helpful. Okay, fine. So sorry, getting clarity now. So I went and found another place, and it was a craftsman home. It was a beautiful old craftsman's home. It had a beautiful deck with bougainvillea flowing over the top of it, beautiful bushes around it. I mean, it was just a great place. So I called the number on the thing, and I called him up, and I said, I want to come see the place. He said, okay, well, I'm only going to show it on Saturday. I said, it's fine, no worries. And he said, but I want to tell you that 25 other people have called on this house, and they're going to come see it. And I said, I don't care about them. It's okay. I'll meet you here at 9 o'clock. He said, okay, I'll see you. So I got there at 9 o'clock. He was there, and we went in, saw the place. I loved it. I filled out the application. I said, here, let me just give you some money, the down payment, or whatever he was asking for, the first and last, whatever he was asking for. So I wrote a check. He goes, you can't write the check. He said, you don't know if it's going to clear or not. So yes, I do. I already know. So the house is mine. You don't worry about it. Just take the check. And in fact, my husband and I are leaving because we're going out of town. We're going up to San Francisco. So I'm going to call you on Monday. Please let me know where I can pick up the key. He's looking at me like I'm crazy. But I already know, right? Because God told me how to pray. He said, listen, you want something, say it. Be clear. Don't be hemming and homming. This is what my daughter used to say. She couldn't say him and han. She'd always say him and homming. So she couldn't say him and han. It was funny. Anyway, so now the whole family says him and homming. But so you have to be clear. That these are the universal laws I want you to know about. God answers prayer. Okay? And by the way, when I got to the house and I saw it, I was very clear that I wanted it. I said, this is the house that I want. Okay? This house. This house right here. This house right here. I want this. I mean, I'm dancing, seriously. And I said, do you understand that? He goes, I got you. I got you. You guys think I'm joking, but I'm telling you, that's how I talk. And that's how we communicate. Because God communicates whatever you call God, however you need God to communicate. Whatever you need, God will provide for you. I have a girlfriend in Waco who loves hummingbirds. And whenever she needs a sign from God, she's asked God to send a hummingbird. Now, it's either a real hummingbird that flies around by her house, somebody delivers a hummingbird necklace, a hummingbird picture, hummingbird postcards. She's got hummingbirds everywhere because she talks to God all the time and always gets signs. So I'm telling you, whatever you need, just ask God for it. And I need him to talk to me like I'm talking to you. I don't want any mistakes about it. So that's what God said. Very clear. So be clear about what you want. You have the power. This is what we teach. If we are individualized expressions of God, we have the power to co-create our lives. And I know that life gets messy. So sometimes, particularly when it involves your loved ones, people that you don't actually, you can pray for them, but it's their life, right? Everybody has free will. Everybody has free will. And so and I told you that there are some things that the members of my family are going through. I ask God in those situations, what is mine to do? What's mine to do? And once I understand that, that's what I do. And then leave it, because that's what you do. You trust and have faith that God has given you the answer you need to know, and it'll work out. And as I'm talking to members of my family who are going through a struggle, and I'm very sad about it because they just are such beautiful people, and they're just going through a rough time. And I really want to just give them all this advice, which, by the way, what is my thing about advice? Can't answer a question that hasn't been asked, right? So if you give advice to someone who hasn't asked for your advice, what are they going to do with it? They can't hear you. They're not going to hear you. They don't want it. Okay? So I wanted to go give them all this sage advice that I know about blah, all that I know. And I asked God, I said, what's mine to do? And the clear answer was, shut up. Shut up. Don't say anything. They can work this out. So I said, all right. So when they called me, I already have my walking orders. When they would call me, I wouldn't tell them anything. I just said, yeah, no, I understand. Yes. Of course you feel that way. Yes. Yeah, no, I'm so glad you called. Thank you. No advice. Just listen. I said, shut up, listen. And that's what I do. So all sides, all parties have been calling me just to talk. They're not asking for anything. They just need to speak it out. I think when you speak it out, you get more clarity, right? Get more clarity. So let me wrap all of this up. What I'm saying is this. We are so powerful. We just need to understand how it works, and that's what we do here at Harmony Spiritual Center. Try to show you the way. Because if it's a universal law, it works for everyone, not just me. So get clear about what you want. That's the hardest part. And it's actually not hard, because if you're not clear, what do? Pray for clarity. All right? Pray for clarity. I don't know what to do here. What's mine to do? And most times Spirit will say, you know what to do. You just don't want to claim it. We just don't want to claim it. I have a quote here, and this thing turned off. I'm not really good at this. But it's the one we've heard many times from Marianne Williamson when she says, I don't even know if I wrote the whole thing down, but she talked about it's not the darkness, but the light that we fear. The light within us, the power that we have, that's what we fear. We won't believe that we have this kind of power because there's so many people in our lives that have said things like, well, who do you think you are? You can't do that. Nobody's been able to do so. So we're not comparing ourselves with other people. Comparison, by the way, is the death of joy. You don't compare yourself with somebody else doing. It's you and God creating your life, co-creating your life, saying what it is that you want, giving you Your dreams, whatever's in your heart to do. So Marianne Williams told us that, but even before that, in the 1800s, Kierkegaard said this: there is nothing of which every man is so afraid as getting to know how enormously much he is capable of doing and being. 1800s, he said that. Same thing Marianne Williams told us. We have power and light within us. All we have to do is ask and believe, and go beyond belief, but to know. When I knew that I had prayed and God heard me, I acted differently. I didn't care what he said. You can't leave this here, there's 25 people. And by the way, I was the only one that showed up. Of the 25 people that called, I was the only one that showed up. It was mine. Spirit already told me that. I already knew. So you walk differently. You hear differently. Things bounce off of you because you already know. So know for sure, by having a relationship with Spirit, learning to pray, learning to meditate. Praying is to speak your word, because the universe is abundant. The universe is abundant. The universe is abundant. But a demand must be made from you. Yes, God knows everything and knows the desires of your heart, but you have free will. Not going to just shower you with stuff unless you say you want it. When you say you want it, it is yours. And you just wait for it. Confident and with faith. That's what we do. So, I just want to end with this, to say that I see you. I know who you are. I know it's possible. Do you? Will you claim, I know. Will you claim who you are and trust God to guide you in everything you need? If you do that, you will be living the life of your dreams. And so it is. Namaste.